I've been asked a question that I see in your eyes as well, one that sits at the very heart of all our human anxiety. The questioner, putting it very clearly, points out a seeming contradiction in what I have been exploring. They ask, you speak of death as a total annihilation, a complete ending of our existence, and yet you also speak of immortality, of a timeless eternity. How can these two things coexist? And they ask, with all the weight of human hope and fear, can one live in that state of eternity? It's a profound question, and to explore it, we must be absolutely clear with each other, discarding all romanticism, all superstition, and all hope, to simply look at what is. First, let us be very clear about our words. I did not use the word annihilation because that word implies a violent negative force, something to be feared. I have said that death is an ending. This is not a semantic game. It is a crucial distinction. We so rarely end anything in our lives, don't we? We modify, we adjust, we carry our burdens forward, but we never truly put them down. But I ask you, when you truly end something, totally, without residue, does something new not begin? This is obvious, is it not? If I have been accustomed to anger my entire life and I seeing its corrosive nature, end it, not suppress it, not control it, but end the very root of it, then something totally new happens. The mind is fresh. Think of it in your own life. Perhaps you have followed a guru with all the gadgets and rituals he has given you, and you have poured your devotion, your hope, and your identity into him. Or, in our modern world, perhaps you have followed a political ideology, a digital tribe, a personal brand, building your sense of self around being a follower. And then one day you see the inherent absurdity of it, the dependence, the circus of it all. You see that you are just as lost as you were before, perhaps even more so. And in that clarity, you end it. You stop. You walk away, not in anger or reaction, but simply because you see the truth. In that moment of ending, is there not an immense, unburdened sense of freedom? The burden which you had been carrying so uselessly is gone. I said death is like that ending. But we don't treat it that way, do we? We have placed death in absolute opposition to living. We have built a formidable psychological wall between the two. Living for us is this side of the wall. The accumulation, the experience, the striving, the building of the me. And death is on the other side, the terrifying, unknown void, the annihilation that the questioner spoke of. We say death is at the end, it may be 10 years, 50 years, or the day after tomorrow. And we have a deep momentum of desire, hoping it will be 50 years, not tomorrow. This is our illusion. This is our desire. This is why we ask, how do I face death? I say to you, you cannot possibly understand how to face death, a thing you have not experienced, without first and far more importantly, understanding of facing living, which you are engaged in every single day. Death is not the opposite of living. The problem is that we think it is, and this very division, this opposition created by our own thought, is the source of our fear. Are you tired of hearing this? I am surprised you are not, because we have heard this all our lives from priests and philosophers, but we have never looked at it. So I believe a much more important question, a far more urgent and vital one, is not how to face death or what immortality is or whether I can live in that timeless state. What is much more important is how to face life. How do we understand this terrible, chaotic, beautiful, and often meaningless thing called living? Because if we don't understand that, not verbally, not intellectually, but by living it, by finding out what it actually means to be alive, then death will always be a terror. Because for most of us, living is meaningless, isn't it? Whether you are a disciple with all the jewels and suppose spiritual status, or you are going to the office from day to day for the next 50 years, slaving away, whether you are going to church or scrolling endlessly on a screen for validation. What is the meaning of all this? You may give meaning to life. People do it all the time. They say, life is this, or life must be that, or my purpose is to serve God, or my purpose is to serve the nation, or my purpose is to be happy. But without all this romantic, idealistic, and often nonsensical imposition of meaning, what is our actual daily life? Let us look at it honestly, just for a moment. Is it not a field of battle? Is it not our daily sorrow, our relentless competition, our ambition, our envy, our despair, our depressions, our agonizing loneliness? And through this shadow land, there is the occasional flash of beauty, of love, of joy, which only seems to make the shadows darker when it's gone. That is our life. That is the living we must face. So the real question becomes, can we face that? Can we understand this life of conflict so completely, so totally, that we can live a life without a single shred of conflict? That, I say, is the only real spiritual life. And to do that, we must be able to die to everything that thought has built. I wonder if you understand what this means. Thought has built your vanity. Thought has told you, you must be this. You are cleverer than the other. You must achieve. You must become somebody. You must struggle, compete like the athletes in the Olympics, driving themselves to win. That is what thought has put together. And that structure of thought is what you call your existence. It is your me, and thought has built our gods, our churches, our gurus, our rituals, our nations, our flags, our insistence on changing our names to something that sounds more spiritual. All that is the activity of thought. And what is thought? As we have said, it is a material process. It is the movement of memory, experience, and knowledge. Experience brings knowledge, which is stored up in the brain as memory, and the response of that memory to any challenge is the movement of thought. This is so if you observe it. So thought has made this me that says, my life is this, I am different from you, I must achieve, I am afraid. And when thought predominates our entire life, as it does, then thought, by its very nature, denies love. Love is not a remembrance. Love is not an experience that thought can capture. Love is not desire, and it is not pleasure. So that is our life, a life of thought, a life of memory, a life of becoming, a life of conflict. And living that way, we have separated the thing called death, which is merely an ending. and we are desperately, profoundly frightened of it. What happens, I ask you, if and when we deny everything in oneself that thought has created? Can you end it? This requires tremendous grit, not nonsensical romance. Your attachments, your hopes, your veneers, your sense of importance, your entire momentum to become, when that becoming completely and totally ends, what have you? You are with death, are you not? And you will see, if you do this, that living is dying, and in that there is a constant renewal. But you don't understand this. You cannot merely by listening. But you see, it is so difficult for us to grasp this because we are trained from the very moment we are born to be individuals, to believe that the me and the you are separate, sovereign facts, whereas this may be the fundamental illusion that generates our entire human sorrow. Is that a fact that we are individuals? Or, I ask you, are we the entire humanity? We like to think we are unique, don't we? Our entire culture, especially now, is built on this idea of the me. We have even built a global technology around this very training, have we not? This world of social media, where we meticulously curate a profile, a digital me, and then anxiously count the followers and the likes in a desperate bid to prove that this me is real, is valuable, is significant. We are trained by our education to compete, to be cleverer, to write the book or get the promotion, and we think that makes us an individual. But look closer. You go through what every other human being on this planet goes through, do you not? You have your sexual appetites, your moments of indulgence, your deep, abiding sorrow, your great hopes that get dashed, your pervasive fear and anxiety, and underneath it all, that immense, aching sense of loneliness. That is what each one of us has. That is our common life. So, are you an individual or are you the repository of all human consciousness? The content of your consciousness, your greed, your envy, your fear of authority, your desire for security is the same as the person in a different country with a different name, a different face. We are the entire humanity. We are not separate. We like to think we are separate, particularly when we have a gift. You may have a gift to write, or to sing, or to paint, or to discover a scientific formula, but that gift in itself does not make you an individual. It is a function, a movement. But see what happens. See what thought does. Thought steps in and says, that is my gift. And the moment you accept that as your gift, the circus begins. Vanity, pride, the fear of losing it, the comparison, the jealousy of another's gift, all the misery of the me begins. The gift, which was something pure, has been captured and made into a tool for the ego, a source of profound conflict. So I ask, is it possible to live a life in which there is no center as me? A life where you are not the individual building a wall of achievements and memories around yourself. When that center is not, then life is something entirely different. Then life is walking hand in hand with death, and it is no longer a thing to be feared. Because what is it that fears death? It is the me, the center, which is a bundle of memories and experiences accumulated over time. It is this accumulation that is afraid of ending. But if you live a life where you are dying every day, dying to your pleasures, your hurts, your attachments, your vanity, then there is a constant ending and therefore a constant renewal. Out of that sense of ending totally, time itself comes to an end. Not clock time, obviously, but psychological time, the time of becoming. Time is movement, is it not? The movement from what I am to what I should be. The movement from I am lonely to I hope I will find companionship. This movement is thought. Thought is time, because thought is the response of memory, which is the past. So when you live a life of constant ending, thought as the accumulator, as the me, comes to an end. And this brings us back to your original vital question. You asked, can I live in that eternity? Do you see the trap in the question itself? The moment you ask, do I live in that, you have misunderstood completely. You see what we have done? We have made eternity into another goal, another achievement for the me. I want to understand immortality, which means I must be part of that. But what are you? What is this I that wants to live forever? Let us be ruthless in looking at it. What are you? A name, a form, the body, and what else? The collection of all the things that thought has put together. Your memories, your experiences, your beliefs, your hopes, your fears. That is what we actually are, a bundle of thought. And we cling to that bundle desperately. And then death comes, as it must, through disease, through accident, through old age, and how terrified we are. Because the bundle, the me, is afraid of not being. And there is always the priest round the corner, isn't there? Or the modern spiritual guru telling you, don't worry, you will go to heaven, or you will be reborn, or you will achieve illumination. They're all in the same business, the business of comforting the me, of promising it continuity. They tell you that you will be safe, that you will find peace. They're all the same, whether they wear robes in Tirupati or suits in Rome or fashionable clothes in California. They're all perpetuating the illusion of the me as something that must continue. So, the real question is not how the me can achieve a timeless state. That is an absurd question, for the me is the very essence of time and conflict. The real question is this: can one live a life so completely, so totally, without a center, without the me? Can you live a life without a single shred of conflict, a life that is not a movement of becoming, but a state of being? Because it is only when that center, which is the product of thought, comes to an end voluntarily, easily, without force, then and only then can that state of mind, which is truly timeless, which is not invented by thought, come into being.